Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, chewing the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Yo, what it do, man? Unplanned, planned excellence is what we have right now. I forgot my man. As I'm getting older, I'm just fucking, the age is kicking my ass. I be forgetting shit. I forgot my man live out here, man. We here in Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
And, anytime you get a chance to have a jam session with your fellow comrades in the comedy game, it's fun, man, especially when you know who you're playing with. And, of course, as we had the great moment with Guthrie, which was planned to a surprise because we both was at the same time in Baltimore. Him at us at Magoobies and him at fucking Baltimore Comedy Factory. Yeah. We did the thing with Jay Moore on his podcast, but he'll be doing ours when we hit Denver. So we're here in Toledo, and it didn't fucking dawn on me. Me and Andy had some shit we was gonna plan to talk about on the pod. And then my man came through last night, and I was like, oh, shit. And then it clicked. I was like, Andy, fuck what we talking about. It's time to break out to China. It's time for the jam session. Get the horns and the bass and all the jazz instruments, because, this is Miles Davis, Thelonious Smart, Charlie Parker time. So here's my man, Vince Morris, man.
Yeah.
And before we really get into the questions and let us give y'all some of his background and discuss him for a second, let me finish putting the shine on this nigga.
I appreciate it.
Like Guthrie, he's one of those dudes, man, which means that funny as fuck, but with a certain high level of intelligence. And it's always fun when I get together with my man here, because again, you're gonna laugh, but he brings enlightenment. So it's special. This is special. So kick back, y'all, because we gonna do this. Vince, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you and Andy, bro. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this, because I've been a big fan of the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
And we tried to hook this up a couple of years ago. And it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. So just by happenstance, I knew you guys up here. I came up here last night. So after a couple of drinks, a few drinks, I was like, okay, tomorrow.
Let's do that.
A few more drinks, and you wasn't gonna make it.
Woo. And I don't know if you.
I'm looking tired.
I don't know if you know this, Aries, but I've known Vince longer than I've known you.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I met probably. I was trying to figure out last night. Was maybe 10 years ago? Because you had your son. You still had how old are your sons?
22 and
and
24.
Okay.
But yeah, I met you when stand up Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Howard Hughes' room.
Howard, yeah. Oh,
Howard Hughes' room.
Yep.
Way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but is this your? Do you consider this like a home club for you since you live out here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Ohio originally.
So you're with the Funny Bone. I just want to point that out. You lean back just for a second. Let everybody see the stage. We're here at the Funny Bone.
Yeah, the Funny Bone was where I started, man. That's my home club out of Columbus, actually, originally. So
of all the Ohios, I always say Columbus is my favorite.
It is. It's nice.
Yeah, so it ain't like Cleveland.
No. That should be their motto.
Right, yeah, Columbus. It ain't like Cleveland.
It ain't like Cleveland. But Cleveland is, I mean, downtown Cleveland is getting better. I mean,
but this isn't even, where are we, right? Toledo wasn't even part of Ohio at first. This was part of Michigan.
Well, I mean, you're taking me way back. As far as I remember, it's always been part of Ohio. So I don't know the history of Toledo.
There was a war 1800 and something. It was listed as the Toledo War is what I saw it. It was part of the Civil War is what I understand.
Oh, but that's nice.
And what I understood is whoever lost had to keep Toledo. And
this motherfucker went all the way around. all the way around for that.
But it's a true story. But it's a true story.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Is it really?
a really true story. Yeah, it's a legit. And,
Okay.
and last night when I was sitting here, I shut out, Toledo, welcome, and then I didn't even put anything else out there. And then I just went, Detroit.
Right.
How are you?
Right. I saw
and
that.
the whole room went crazy for
Right.
Detroit because a lot of people from Detroit come out to.
Yeah, it's right across. Yeah, but the state line, I mean, it's right. It's like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a 45-minute ride from the airport
To here.
in Detroit,
Yep.
Detroit area to Toledo.
Right.
So, okay.
So I think like a lot of us, first time I caught a glimpse of Vince was the explosion. He came in with, like all the rest of us, during the explosion of Def Jam.
Yeah, actually, my Def Jam was the resurgence of Def Jam when Mike Epps was hosting. So they came, they were looking for alternative type comedy because they were sick of the stereotypes of that Def Jam had. But so they were like, we want some new conscious comedy.
Let me ask you, is that what you would describe your comedy as, alternative or conscious?
I didn't have a label for it. I was just like, why aren't you motherfuckers laughing at this? Y'all stupid. That's what,
Okay.
I didn't know. I mean, because I'm not
Right.
a college graduate. I'm like, how come you not getting this shit? But it was the way I was delivering it. But it was
Are you talking specifically about the Def Jam, your Def
no,
Jam?
no, just in general. Like
Right.
my attitude at the time when I was doing that style of comedy, when I was just hitting them over the head with just straight shit. I mean, it wasn't
Right.
I needed to maneuver and get in and out that I do differently now. But in back, I didn't consider myself. I didn't have a label for it. So they were like, oh, it's conscious comedy. I'm like, fuck.
Did that bother you?
Nah, it didn't bother me.
Okay.
What bothered me is when they weren't laughing the way they should. I'm like, you motherfuckers are really.
I hit you with some knowledge.
You motherfuckers, something is wrong with you. But it's fucked up though. When we went to Def Jam, actually I got a standing ovation on Def Jam.
Right.
But we went. My manager and I went like a week before my episode was supposed to air, and they said, well, we'll let you guys know there's gonna be some changes made. The ending, they thought it was too powerful and preachy, so we kind of cut the ending. So they cut my last portion that they got me to standing
ovation.
But
Yeah.
did they show the standing
I
ovation?
don't think so. I think they might have. Yeah, they might have. But it looked weird the way it happened.
Really?
So the statement that I made, they're like, I think it was a little preachy too, powerful. So let me know.
So obviously you were upset with them for that.
Yeah, I mean, they let me know after all the time being in Hollywood. We want different type of black comedy. We want to show black comedians different light. They let me know at the end of the night they wanted shit they always had.
Right.
From my own people, from Def Jam. So you would think. So you were like, okay.
Well, I would think that at that point, if they had shown everything else, and it seemed to be one style, they would want something that's vastly different.
That's how they approached.
But then that's not what they did.
Yeah, but they at the end they fucked me over a little bit. So.
It's that Hollywood idea of marketing. They know what they want, but they don't want what they asked for.
Right.
Because now they had to change it because it isn't what they wanted.
Right. Or if unless it becomes the wave, then they don't copy it. But once it becomes the wave, then originality goes out the window, and everybody wants to duplicate what the wave is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but the problem is they don't show the wave in different aspects because black people wave differently all over. But the one aspect of it is they continuously showed us in that particular light, which was, it's funny, but it's other motherfuckers that do the other stuff.
I told this story before on the podcast, and I'm gonna tell it again because you're here, just because I know you to the point of what you're saying. I remember I was coming back from a gig, and it was in the airport. You know how comics, especially if you live in LA, there's a chance we could all catch each other at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm at the baggage claim, and it's me, Alex Thomas, and Guy Torrey.
Yeah.
And we're talking about comedy and shit a little bit where we just came back from. And basically, somebody had brought up, yeah, man, Aries said that he don't like working with black comics. Like he won't let nobody open for him that's black. And I never said I wouldn't do that. I said you have to be, I want to make sure your comedy and my comedy don't clash.
Yeah.
And I don't want my show to be an all Def Jam show, especially when I have a mixed audience.
Right.
So I want I want a certain flavor with me.
I got you.
So, and Guy Torrey was like, dude, I understand that completely because shit, blah, 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 blah. It's your show. You could do whatever the fuck you want to. So Alex jumps in and we're all agreeing. And Alex goes, listen, man, my whole thing is if you want to be the raunchy, suck my dick, bitches, hoes, and weaves. Dude, there's a night for that. But it's hard for me as a headliner to have the guy before me end his set by going, and that's how you eat corn out of bitch booty hole. Yeah. Are you ready for your headliner? And he goes, and now I'm supposed to come out and talk about my trip to France? So it's just, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that style of comedy, but again, if that's all there is, come on, man.
And what type of wine?
And that's what I love about you is you again, and that's why I asked you if that label, conscious comedy or intellectual comedy, bothered you, because some people might look at that as, you know what I'm saying?
The only thing that bothered me was the fact that it didn't bother me as much as the psychology behind it, because by saying that, they're telling me that black audiences aren't going to get me. That's what's fucked up.
Without giving you the chance to.
Or they think that's how dumb they are. You know what I mean? So, growing up, I mean, people were like, you write a joke, this, that, and the other, because, when you write mainstream jokes or whatever kind of jokes, back in the day, I'm dating myself. I've been doing this now for about 9 days. So back in the day, you people read newspapers, one-liners and stuff. You a Seinfeld style writer because I got references and this, that, and the other. But as a black comedian, I got the same references. So what happened was they were like, well, black audiences aren't going to get this. Black, I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you shitting on my people?
Right.
But you're too smart for black audience. I'm like, fuck you. And I go up there and black audience is just like,
but
then I'm like mad as fuck. I'm like, y'all feed into what they just said,
But you don't think that stems a little bit from even like people like Dave Chappelle that he wasn't received as well with the black audience at the beginning of his career?
Absolutely. So it's a different style, because the fact that, if it's not.
I don't know that I would say that though.
He said it.
That he wasn't received.
He was.
Yeah.
Not as open,
not like it is today.
Right.
But he caught on a little bit quicker with the mainstream. I don't even going to say with the white crowd, with the mainstream comedy club, because a comedy crowd. There is a difference between comedy. There's a difference between funny people who like funny and people who come to comedy shows though too.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of differences as we break this all the way down.
Right.
It's not just funny, because we always say funny wins at the end.
You would hope.
And that's the other part. You hope, because you don't know who's going to be in the audience that day. Like, if you go on a holiday weekend, you might not get any comedy people. You might be getting people that wanted to go to a show and it's comedy, and there's less comedy people in the room than there are just people looking for an evening.
But if you come as a comedy goer, if you come to the doors that says comedy, and then you should expect the unexpected, you should, once you enter these doors, then you as an audience member should be ready to receive anything that we say.
Right. But that's not all,
especially now, because everybody's too fucking sensitive. They come into a comedy club
looking for a problem.
Yeah. The first thing out of their mouth is, I hope if I'm offended, I'm going to ask my money back and try to cancel all that bullshit.
You see some people walk in and you hear that woo sound, that Western movie. They're coming in.
Spaghetti Western.
Coming in for the problem. Yeah.
Right.
The good, the bad, the woke.
Now you used to, and I asked you this last night. You live here now.
Yeah.
Back here because this is home.
Yeah.
But you used to live in L.A.
Right. Yeah.
What took you from L.A. back to here?
My daughter being born.
Oh, okay.
And plus, I wanted some normalcy. I never really liked L.A. I mean, even when I was there, every day I would have like a little knot in my stomach. I never really enjoyed L.A. like everybody else claimed to enjoy it. Because to me, I didn't like the energy of it. I didn't like being judged every single day. I didn't like people you meet, they were phony. It's all a facade. So I couldn't play it. I don't play well like that. So it kind of, it fucked with me.
What was the rooms that you did though what was your favorite rooms in LA when you were out there though? Where were you going up?
Melrose Improv. The Belly Room was good. Hermosa Beach, that's out, Comedy Magic.
That's Jay Leno's spot.
Yeah. Actually, I saw a little few times there. But yeah, so those are my main spots, but I was also on the road. I was always back
on the road.
Yeah, I'm constantly on the road. So yeah, even when I was living in LA, I would fly out here, anywhere, come back and forth. So
how long were you there?
About 15, 16 years. Baby.
That long?
Yeah. No, yeah. I said I got there about 99. Yeah.
So you was out there for real?
Yeah, I was out there for probably a good 12. Then I was flying back and forth.
And in none of that time, did you feel an adjustment or to...
I felt the adjustment that I wasn't going along with the crowd though. I mean, I got hit. We talked about this last night. Every time I was in Los Angeles, I lived there. Every time we would have showcases, every time we would have any kind of producers, directors, showrunners come out, they would say, okay, cool, we want something different. Boom. Obviously, my story at the time was different. boom, pair me up with a writer. It's always the same shit. So, you were raised by your father? I'm like, yeah. How was it? I told him about this way. So your father, was he uneducated? He could be uneducated. They start manipulating your whole life story. I'm like, motherfucker, no, I didn't say any of that on stage. You know?
Right.
So how many baby's mothers did your dad have? No,
Are you fucking serious?
I am not lying. I'm not lying.
I'm telling you, boy.
And nobody believes me.
You know what? I say this so much. I love it. Cause I talk about this kind of shit and say this shit so much that I know there are people that probably listen to me on here and go, this motherfucker's either exaggerating,
right,
or he's always on his soapbox, or he's full of shit, blah, blah, whatever. I love it when evidence comes on. Because people think, I'm telling you, this business is fucking maddening.
It's evil.
It's evil. It's
evil.
Sick. And again, the sick part about it is when it's good, though, when it's good and it's working for you, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
That's the hook. That's the hook.
The money, the adulation, the women, the shit you can buy. It's like being a kid in a fucking candy store when it's good.
Right.
But trying to get it to be good to you, oh boy, that's the challenge, nigga. That is the labyrinth.
Being good is that's your soul that's been exchanged for what you have. Like you said, when it's good, it's good. You get money, you get everything, you get people at your beck and call, and that fucks with your spirit because it's the easiest. You make a lot of money doing a sitcom. You ain't really doing shit. But it's fun, and then you got somebody can bring you this. That goes to your head instantly.
Chris Rock had the best quote. He goes, the worst job in Hollywood is better than the best job out of it.
Perfect. Damn.
But listen.
That's
one of the things I swear I said, dude, if I ever get a part where I have to play a Nickelodeon dad, like on them kid shows on Nickelodeon, like if I ever had to play in a kid show where I'm the dad, I'm fucking done. Because those jokes are geared towards kids. It's ba-dum boom.
Yeah.
It's corny. But then I'm also I don't want to be Rondell Sheridan. But at the same time, to Chris's point, dude, you know how much money on a show like That's So Raven, even if you're the corny dad, you know how much money you're making?
But I don't, to me, it wouldn't, the amount of money wouldn't really matter to me in that sense if it wasn't something I really wanted to do, because that's what.
But see, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with, dude, look, it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
But at the same time, from the outside looking in, somebody goes, $50,000 a week?
Yeah.
You're saying no?
Yeah.
You're insane.
Right.
So.
White guy question. I should have a song. I should have a theme when a white guy question comes in.
No, it should be, what's the, from.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh,
Mayberry.
The whistle kicks in. Yeah. Matter of fact, hold on, wait. Say white guy question. Steve, you know what to do.
White guy question.
Okay.
So Bob Saget was able to make a whole, be able to have those two sides of him. He could do the show with the kids,
right?
Full House, and he could do. And there was a lot of corny dad jokes in that. Not as corny as what you were talking about Nickelodeon, but it was still corny.
Yeah.
And then be able to have a stand-up career where he could go out and be the most really hard, talk some foul shit. Right? Can that happen for a black man in this industry?
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's the ultimate for any kind of comedian that wants his or her own sitcom. And areas, this probably obviously better than I do, but it's the same. Every comic wants his or her own voice to be told through their sitcom. And once you get picked, then the writers started getting your head changing everything. So the only black comic that actually was in control of it was probably was Cosby. It was control of everything he did. And also, who else? Not
he was
black.
control of some things other people did too.
Yeah, well, but see,
it wasn't me, you see.
No.
You see, you put the pill in the drink and hello, America. Oh, boy.
Chris Rock controlled it when he did it.
Yeah, everybody likes Chris. But I'm saying, that's the ultimate goal because, no one can tell you how to do your comedy better than you can because this is what you do for a living. But once you get on set, they go, nah, I try to joke this way. You're like, I've been doing this shit for years. That's why you guys have me. So then you see right automatically. They control what you think. and say, they're like, okay, we like you, but do it this way. You're like, but that's not how I'm.
Well, like you said, though, they want you to tell your story, but through their vision of what your story is.
Right, yeah, watered down or whatever.
Or their vision or their stereotype of what your story
that
is.
is. That's it.
Your dad raised you? Did you have other women around? No, motherfucker. Where did you get that from?
Right.
That'd be a good angle, right?
Right.
You know, women coming in and out and all kind of. I'm like, man, look, y'all.
I want to go back a second to again when I think about you and what you do and how you do it and your voice and your intellect. I'm gonna like a certain class of guys that I'm gonna name, and I like to liken it to jazz because there's certain dudes who just jazz to me is just a grown, sexy, intricate kind of music, and certain comedians' styles and delivery to me feels like jazz.
Yeah.
I'd say Godfrey,
Yep,
Chappelle,
absolutely.
Gerard Carmichael,
Yep,
and you.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So because I remember we were at the Baltimore Comedy Factory, and have you performed there?
Mm-hmm.
So you know that room.
Yeah,
Very different from Magooby's, which we had never done.
I never been to Magooby's.
Well, Magooby's is different.
Okay,
Better,
different.
You know, a lot of niggas in Baltimore Comedy Factory.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Magooby's is mixed.
Okay, because and they free drinks too.
Right.
Yeah, Baltimore Comedy Factory, $20, you get endless drinks, and then that's oh my god.
But I remember I was there, and I was like trying to figure out some of the people who had come through there, and I remember when the DJ said something about Gerard Carmichael had come through there, and I was like, how did he do? Because I know that audience, and I know Gerard's style, so I'm like, how did he do? He said he did well. I mean, it wasn't a crush,
Right.
but he did well, and I'm just going, what do you attribute that to? I know we can sit here and go, some niggas is just dumb, but what is it about a Gerard Carmichael or a you that sometimes, when you even said sometimes your comedy doesn't convey to certain audiences?
Yeah,
Listen.
yeah. It just depends on what subject matter it is. So for me, like back in the day when I told you I would just fire off my jokes, and I mean they were I thought they were great jokes, but the response was 50-50. My older brother, sat me down. Maybe this is many years ago. He goes, you know what, Vince? He goes, the jokes you're trying to convey, they may be misinterpreting as you're better than them. So how you're not better than them? And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to. That's not my intentions. He said, but the way you're delivering it, maybe you have to do something that connects you to the audience more before you hit them over the head.
Did you agree with that?
Absolutely. And that's what I do today, because now it is a connection, because if I get some deep material that I really want to say, and if I just go out and say it, I'm so disconnected from the audience the way I need to be to give them the hardcore stuff. So if I befriend them and whatever, like jazz, get in, get out, boom, I'll do the joke this way and not the way I used to, like set up punchline, boom, boom, boom. I'll play, laugh, and then bring it in like that. So it's more fun for me to deliver it, especially when it's like really, really deep stuff. I got shit in my notebooks that I open up sometime and go, I can't even say this shit yet. That's crazy. I'm like, the club might get closed. I might be asked to leave, never come back to this city, all kind of stuff, man. I got some shit in the notebooks. Stuff that,
But see,
and I'm hoping to get to.
Right.
See that I think that's interesting how you. Well, it was a conversation with your brother, but how you put that together, because when we talk about our favorites, a lot of people say Carlin. One of the reasons Carlin wasn't my favorite, and in that top tier for me, in that top 4 or 5, is because I did feel like he was not relating to me. He was talking down to me because he already knew it. He was giving us the roadmap to how we were getting fucked.
Right, yeah.
But he wasn't in that getting fucked. He was just letting us know that we were getting fucked. And I think I didn't realize it until I got older. Yes, Carlin is a genius, but that's why I didn't connect, because he was just above me.
But he didn't have that personality to connect. So, but like my brother told me, he goes, man, you got improv skills, do all that stuff. Weave in and out, the way you do in home and run around. So I use all those other attributes.
Yeah, because you do put on a show.
Yeah.
Yours is a show.
Yeah, so that's what I was missing. So that's what I like doing now for my own personal style. I'm like, okay, otherwise this would be too much for them to digest. So how do I break it up and then feed them like this, which is more relaxing, is better for everybody. Because
But when you're talking about connection, though, and then we brought up Gerard Carmichael. Now he is in a different lane because he also came out, and now he's that. That's when I watched that special, and I don't know what you thought of the special. You could see people in the room going, "Wait a minute, that's not what I was expecting to get out of this." So there's some change that he did. What do you think about his comedy and his style? Because it's very it's a different. It's a different lane.
I haven't. I've watched a little bit of a couple specials. It's real small. I think everyone. It's a more of a relaxed conversation. That's exactly what it is. But I think now he has put himself in a position to where his audience knows exactly what style he's doing. So it's built in. So they expect it now. So if he was to start out like open mic night without people knowing who he was, they had a status behind him, it might be a little harder.
See, he built up to that, is what you're saying.
Because he was on TV for many years, right?
Yeah, he had his own show. Yeah,
it's easy when you have your own show. You can, people can, they'll give you that leeway. Oh, he had his own sitcom. Of course, it's going to be different. he's sitting Indian style, humming. So this is, he's the star. They give you that. So, but if he started with that prior to being on a sitcom, it'd been way harder.
Listen, I understand what you mean when you say you don't want to come off like you're better than anybody, but sometimes it just really does boil down to they're stupid.
Yeah,
some audiences are just fucking stupid.
I know, and that's what
some material is just you playing chess with checkers, motherfuckers. and I'm not. That's not to be better, but that's just what it is sometimes.
I know. And you're giving them alcohol, so you're adding stupidity.
A little bit. Yeah, you cranking up.
That's
stupidity.
exactly right. But I'm saying as an overall projection of just the way people were portraying black audiences back when I was starting out, I was like, you can't think all of us are dumb. And I was mad at that. I was mad at the comedians that said your style is too smart for them. And so, but it was a backhand compliment because I sat back and go, so you think black people were just stupid? But I didn't get it back then,
Right.
But now I'm like, yeah, you motherfuckers, y'all think all black people are stupid?
Right.
So that's like a backhand compliment from the other comics when I was starting out,
Well, it's funny because and when you do the road, like I'd say there's a lot of places, and this is why I say I love of all the places I've been to across the country. That's why I love a lot of the East Coast clubs because it feels like generally out of 100%, 90% of the audience is savvy and smart and quick and with you.
Yeah.
Whereas nothing is 100%.
Right.
So you might have 10% of some dumb motherfuckers in a lot of the East clubs, but then there's other parts of the country where it's the opposite.
Right.
There's 10% smart people in the room and the other 90 are fucking dumb.
Right.
So it's just, you can't have perfection,
right.
but as close to it as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love it.
East Coast,
because it's frustrating when I'm on stage sometimes and I'm seeing that 10% that get it.
Yeah.
And they're smart enough and they're savvy and they're paying attention and they're with it. And I'm just going, I got to fucking struggle through the rest of these 90% stupid motherfuckers.
Right.
It's y'all making me jump through hoops for shit that y'all ain't getting.
Right.
It's oh my God.
But we're in the Midwest right now, where we are, Ohio.
Yeah, but Ohio's not really the Midwest. It's been a stereotype. If you look at a map, Ohio's more east.
Yeah.
The Midwest is like Iowa.
Okay, but it's not. But let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not East Coast though.
And in what respect?
Here's the difference that I see here. And I used to think
technically it is, right?
Yeah, I mean it's different geographically because it's
Yeah, but it's not coast. It's but here's my point about this. I used to think that the Midwest, honestly, I thought that they weren't smart. Honestly, I didn't think that they had that same savvy that you're talking about that's coming out of the East Coast.
Right.
But what I realized from watching lately is that they're just more connected. I don't want to say this. Let me say to make sure I say this the right way. They're connected emotionally. So when you say something that's inappropriate in the East Coast, people will just go, "That's funny. I get it. It's smart. It's funny." Here, when you say something that's I watch people laugh into their food this weekend because they don't want to be caught laughing at something that's inappropriate. Out here, they're nicer, is what I'm trying to say. They have a little bit more. They let their humanity run higher than their laugh bone.
Yeah, but you know what? I think also that's not just here. I think that's unfortunately happened all over the comedy industry because people are now slowly not only not laughing, but they're actually holding you responsible for what you say. So they're not as open-minded. Maybe East Coast and West Coast. I think it's overall just a consensus of people's energy that they think they can come into a comedy club and look for something specifically to bitch and complain about. Even if you say something shocking, because comedy's shocking. It should be shocking.
It should.
It should be misdirection. It should be, unless it's intentional, unless you're trying to make somebody feel upset and you use the buzzword abortion, religion, you can say nigger, all that kind of stuff to get people. But if there's substance behind it, then they'll listen to it. But just for the sake of actually making somebody upset, Most comics shouldn't do that, but people come in, pay money, sit there, and just you can't say that.
You know, that's happening in Brooklyn and some parts in New York. I'd rather be in the Midwest than some cities,
Well,
some places in Brooklyn.
Yeah, so
because it's happened out there.
Overall, it's getting scary for any kind of performer because you're putting us into a box. You know, you should be able to say what the fuck you want to say, however you want to say it, as long as if in a comedy club.
Well, here's like I agree with what Andy said, but I also partly disagree because here's the thing: there's a key to every lock, and even when an audience may not be giving you what you feel you deserve, at some point it's like being a janitor with 1,000 keys, and you got to keep trying different keys till you get it. So it's like even if I come out with my plan, here's my playbook, here's my plan for what I'm gonna do. If for whatever reason the material is not doing what it's supposed to do after the first couple jokes, then I start doing crowd work, and all of a sudden, if I start fucking with somebody in the crowd and I'm doing something just really like ignorant and ghetto, and then the audience falls out, that's the key.
Yep.
That's the key to their lock.
Yeah.
So y'all want to hear them jokes.
Right,
Y'all want the ignorant shit. Y'all want the blue hardcore shit.
Right.
Versus you don't want the filet mignon.
Right. But you can still give them the filet with, so because you have the ability to do that. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I was lacking back in the day because I wasn't using the ability to actually improvise.
Right.
Like I do off stage, but now I do all the time to bring in the stuff that I really want to bring. That's what my brother was telling me. You got to weave in and out, find essentially the lock to whatever you're trying to say.
I always use this football analogy when I go, you could be a world-class top-tier quarterback in the league without having to leave the pocket. There's a bunch of them. Yeah. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning. But I think the best comics are the ones that can do a Michael Vick. When you can scramble out the pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go do crowd work.
And it come back in.
And again, you could still be a top-tier quarterback without ever having left the pocket. There's a lot of comedians who don't leave the pocket, who are great comedians. Right. But man, when you can leave the pocket and scramble,
I love it.
Oh boy.
I love it.
That's some other shit, because now you got two skill sets.
Yep. And sometimes you do this to the point where you don't even use your material.
Right.
And you're like, fuck.
But my thing is, sometimes I go, I just want to do my material.
Yeah.
Don't make me scramble. Like, I don't want to scramble, man.
That's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah, it is, but goddamn.
I know, but hey, that's the beauty of comedy, because if you didn't have that, you'd be bitching because you didn't have that. You'd be suffering, you'd be like, man, if I just had the ability to improv, I wouldn't have to power through my material and get all this stuff, but you have the ability to do both. So, man, that's a blessing, because some guys can't at all.
You know why I can? Because I'm a fucking genius.
Yes.
And that's something I do on the podcast. I do that every day.
That's funny. I believe it.
Oh,
yes.
But to everything you just said, to your comedy icon, the guy you put up on the pedestal, Patrice, he could do it, but if you weren't giving him what he felt he deserved, he wasn't going to give you what you wanted.
Yeah.
But you know what, too? Okay, now this is what you said is exactly correct, but also to piggyback on Aries, what's the key? You know what the key is that I'm learning? I found it 8 years ago. It's just to be honest. So if they sense that you're being honest about whatever the fuck you're saying, even if they're not really, it's not their key, that loosens them up, because they're like, oh, this dude, that energy is more powerful than anything else. If someone knows you've been honest, they'll listen to you more so than if they agree with you or not. They're like, oh, this is not my cup of tea, but at least he's, that's commanding presence. When you go up and say, listen, for me, I say things along the lines like, this is what I'm gonna do, you guys. If you guys upset, this is what this is what the fuck I'm doing. So that kind of opens the doors, and I'm like, oh, he don't give a fuck in that sense. So we are gonna relax, because he's gonna do what he wants to do regardless.
When Patrice passed, I remember Opie and Anthony, they did a big thing on the station where they had a bunch of people call in: Chris Rock, Dane Cook, Louis C.K. And I remember Dane was telling basically a story where he just said, man, Patrice told him one day, man, truth, man. Yep. Don't ever underestimate or sleep on truth. He echoed what you said. Yeah. That truth is powerful, man. So
it is.
It all starts with that.
Right.
That's the foundation for any joke.
Yep. And that's the hardest thing for most comedians want to achieve, because it's the most vulnerable. To be that vulnerable, I respect, like Pryor. I respect Richard Pryor because he said shit that I'm like, I won't even tell my therapist that shit. I mean, that's
That nigga said the most taboo shit
Yeah,
ever with a black
but
audience. I sucked a dick.
Yes.
Anybody ever suck a dick?
Yes. I'm like, nope. I'm going to my grave with that one. I don't need to laugh that bad. But I respect someone. So most comedians respect that raw honesty, whether you're dirty or clean, but you just respect someone who's being real, and that breaks that fourth wall. And like I said, that's that key that any audience can sense instantly. They're like, this may not be my cup of tea, but he's going to do what he needs to do, so we're going to have fun. And that's what every comic, I'm assuming, wants to get towards, and that's what I'm working towards. It's been years, but I find myself being way more honest on stage every time, and I like that. And there's some stuff that I looked at my notebook. I go, fuck, I'm not that. I don't know.
I'm not that honest yet.
Yeah, I want to say this one day. This needs to be said.
Well, you know, and going back to where I go, sometimes audiences are dumb. I want to say sometimes this is where I get mad at my people. And I do a joke about getting a prostate exam.
Yeah.
And I mean, immediately, you could see it in the black men's faces. They don't even want to try to laugh. They want to tune you out immediately because they associate that with some gay shit.
Right.
And I say in the message to the joke, which, you know, not just the funny, but yeah, man, when you're in your 40s, you're in prostate zip code. Black men, go fuck the stigma we have about doctors and hospitals. Get yourself checked out.
Yeah.
And again, when I finish the joke and I do the whole thing and talk about the experience of having a finger in my booty from a doctor and a man, it's funny. And I love it when I see the black men who aren't afraid to give it up and understand that this is not just a joke. It's real shit being said in a joke. But then when I get done, and I even call the elephant in the room after the joke, because I call them out. I go, black people, y'all are we so fucking homophobic. We can't get past our own homophobia for the sake of a joke.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
But isn't that fun saying it sometimes?
Yes.
See, exactly.
Yes.
So I'm sure, even the cats that don't want to laugh, since their energy, they may have to laugh because they're like, he ain't gonna stop telling us. So you know, I may have had a homophobic thought, but fuck it, it's funny because you ain't backing down. That's the part of that honesty that just supersedes the fourth wall, and you're in your face with it. You're like, listen, you guys don't get this shit. You know, you guys think this homophobic shit. That's the problem. And so you're still honest, and they're like, fuck, okay, that's real. And here comes the funny part. So that's the ability that you have, which is good because that makes it way more interesting because you can stay in the lane of being honest about whatever subject you want to talk about.
Dude, I gotta say, you used to do a bit, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, and the only part I remember, but I'm sure you'll remember once I say it, you did this bit where you did something about like playing cards.
Oh.
And I'll trade you something
yeah,
for
I was
something.
like,
Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, the premise was...
it was so fucking genius.
I said, I love my black people. Can't nobody out-ignorant us. Yeah, I said, you can never out-ignorant us as black people. I said, what I say? It's like we should have our own a game of cards or something, our own poker. It's like I'll raise you 3 babies mamas, hairnet in public, house shoes, and I'm late on rent. Pow. Oh, really? Well, I got, 2 felonies, blah, 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 and that kind of shit. And I'm living with my mama. Pow, what you got? So it was a whole play on poker about how we need to better ourselves and shit. But yeah,
I thought that bit was so fucking brilliant, dude.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Ignorant poker. I can't remember the title of it, but that premise was that can't nobody out ignorant us in any kind of games.
I want to ask you, I want to bring something up that Annie and I were gonna discuss when we didn't know we were gonna have you, because I want to get your thoughts on it, because you kind of alluded to it when you talked about Hollywood supposedly writing for you and then filling your story with the stereotypes. So Mindy Kaling, the Indian chick, what's her, Mindy? You know who that is?
I know of, yeah.
She had that show once upon a time ago.
She was on The Office.
The Office.
Yeah.
Well, she was doing the new, it's called Velma, the Scooby-Doo character Velma, where she was the voice and the Velma, and Velma's now an Indian girl. And in this new wokeness, Velma's gay, she's Indian, Shaggy's black, because that's where we are now with the cartoons. And I mean, that's fine. This is where we are. Okay, fine. But she really recently caught some controversy. And I want to read something really quick. It says, Mindy Kaling backlash has lost all nuance. Recent criticism of the comedian's artistic laziness has fans re-examining her whole career. Now, this is the part that I want to read real quick, just a snippet real quick. Velma has opened up a discourse about Kaling's long career of writing and performing a specific kind of Indian woman. Dorky, self-absorbed, insecure, obsessed with attaining the romantic validation of her caustic white guys and eager to fling herself, her family, her culture, and other cultures under the bus to get it. Here's my gripe.
Who wrote it though? Was it
Who
wrote that article though? Was it a white woman, a white man?
I don't know.
So what's the gripe you say?
But my gripe is this, you know, and I've mentioned this on the podcast. We want minorities to be in Hollywood because, again, like I said, all the things that we could get from it. And I love when Patrice compared it to almost like Studio 54. Everybody's in line to get eaten by the beast, get shit out, and get right back in line because you can make $1 million an episode.
Right.
But with that, it just seems like minorities want white acceptance so fucking bad that they shit on themselves, and a lot of minorities shit on us because, as Godfrey said when we had him here, he was like Dante Nero. You know Dante Nero? Do you know comedian?
Yeah.
He said, Dante said, it's almost patriotic to hate black people. And it feels like a lot of times minorities, Asians, Indians, Hispanics, shit on us so much to get the acceptance from the very same people that shit on them.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, why are we y'all's enemy when it seems like we have that same thing in common, that we're the ones being ridiculed by, you know, the racist white folks or the powers that
system.
Yes. And I just don't understand. Like, the acceptance means that much to you.
There's always a first.
It does because it's easier. It's because you treat it easier. You see how bad, and well, maybe I'm speaking for them. This is, not right, but maybe they're thinking they see how bad black people are treated in America because of the movies, whatever it is, whatever the propaganda they receive. So they're like, I'm not going to be associated with that. So how can I show that I'm not? By doing the European condition activities. I have a dog. I'm a nice person. I have lattes and stuff. So I'm assimilating to their ideology to let you know I'm distancing myself because I'm not like one of them. And the reward is they get shows and shit like that. And black people do that too to a certain extent. Black people, some black people do that as well. We dance in and out of this Eurocentric society, but some people go all the other way and be like, I am not like them. I am I'm not even black. I drink Kool-Aid with no sugar.
There's always a first rung to the ladder.
Yeah.
That's how this is working in here.
And listen, I've seen quite a few funny fucking Indian dudes, and I'm just going, I would think that if you're Mindy, wouldn't you want your boyfriend to be an Indian guy? One, because you're employing, you're giving a job to another person of your race that really don't get these kinds of opportunities. And two, if you pick the right funny Indian dude, more the merrier. And you're a funny chick. So what a great Indian funny couple in terms of image and representation.
Are you talking about the show, Velma, though?
No. They're saying in a lot of her projects, she gets with the dorky, however they describe it, white guy.
Because there can be a lot of comedy in the juxtaposition, though. And that's how she writes it.
But that feels more to me like again, like what he said. It's easier, the acceptance.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you want that?
Well,
to just boil that down to, well, comedically, racially, there's more to be had. Fuck that. Because you can have just as much with a funny Indian dude.
But they don't want that image getting out the same way.
There we go.
They don't have like what black sitcom is a husband and wife? Actual husband and wife. Are there any? Because always single parent now or whatever. So I'm not really following many sitcoms outside of the Cosby Show. What other show was Damon married? Was he married?
My wife and kids. With Tisha Campbell.
Yeah. Was anything after that they showed black men with black women together as a family?
Didn't Bernie Mac show have?
Was he married? Yeah, was Bernie married? But he had his kid.
I don't know.
I don't
So,
remember.
but they don't show that. They don't want the image shown.
yeah.
So now the woke image is every commercial is going to have a black, Latina, Asian, trans, this, all that kind of stuff, because they're wanting you to. They're planting that image into your mind that hey, you don't have to stay in your own lane when it comes to your own race. You have to be accepting of everybody at all times. That's the beauty of it.
I just would think,
Which is cool. But
listen, as an Indian man, again, especially if I'm a comedian and I'm funny,
yeah.
at some point when you see this as a constant, wouldn't it make you? Are we not good enough? Are we not worthy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It makes you question your worth.
But speaking to that article was about how she offended everyone. She offended the conservatives. She offended the woke. She offended the regular. She offended middle. She offended people that just liked the Scooby-Doo cartoon. She offended everybody in that. And to me, as a comic, if you were equally offending everybody, you did your fucking job.
How was she offending everyone? What was was
Fred-
that from
Fred-
an actual
This is-
performance or something?
This was from, she has this cartoon, the
Yeah.
Velma. Fred, now the leader of the Scooby-Doo gang.
yeah.
Is someone who has a latent puberty. He isn't a man.
But
They have
this is her own project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
She's-
cartoon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they made her a different, they made Velma different. They made we haven't even seen
She's gay,
Scooby-Doo.
she's Indian.
We haven't even seen what's coming.
I know Scooby's like,
Yeah.
And they're about ready to shelve this. I heard they're not going to finish. They're not going to.
They'll have another a version of it later because they're forcing down your psyche of what they think America really should be in everyone's household. They don't even show unity like that. Unity now is accepting everything else around you at all times. That's how they're brainwashing people into believing that stuff. Every commercial, every movie now, everyone has all these characters in it. All of them at all time, which is that doesn't represent my household.
No, but what's really funny to me is that if you really break down what they're trying to do, and then you look at the Archie Bunker, All in the Family.
Yeah.
All the Family was doing it, but they were doing it in a way where they're showing how America really is and how it could be, and they were breaking it all down to what the bigoted Archie, how he was actually viewing people, even though it was against how he grew up. Do you know what I mean? He didn't dislike Mr. Jefferson. He didn't dislike Mr. Jefferson for being black.
Right.
That wasn't his, but he acknowledged that Mr. Jefferson was black and he grew up in a world where the sons and daughters weren't mixing. It was a way of saying what they're saying, but now it isn't even where you could work through whatever your mental hang up is. Now you just have to accept it.
Right.
This is what it is. And that's it.
And All in the Family, Sanford and Son, The Jeffersons, all those shows go back to what Arias and I were talking about. And that's the key because they presented somewhat of realism. There was truth behind what they're saying.
There was honesty behind it.
And then people don't want to hear the truth anymore. People want to live in their own reality of what they think life should be. And if you burst that with truth, then all of a sudden you're a hater or you're a phobic, you're this, that, and the other. They label you instantly if you don't accept their version of reality. But truth is truth. You go up and you say shit like, this is weird to me. This is fucked up. This is crazy. I don't agree with this. You can't even say that now
because
without being labeled.
There's a big difference between All in the Family that was showing you how to come to acceptance and learning and admitting that we have structural impediments in our thought process. And nope, this is the way it is. And there's a big difference. And one doesn't get you to the next place. The one that we're doing right now doesn't get us all there.
Because they don't want you to. That's the thing. They don't want you to get to the next place. They want you to have that mentality of, like I just said, everything is normal. This is great. But it doesn't represent anything in your household. It doesn't represent anything your mom and dad has ever told you. It doesn't represent how you grew up, everything you've learned. They're telling you now shit you've learned is ridiculous. They're going after everything. Who was it? Was it Aretha Franklin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a woman song?
Yeah, the woman song. They got there.
Right. The transgender community was offended.
But I'm saying that's the absurdity of where we are right now. Of people just, it's maddening.
Well, a couple Christmases ago was that song. It's cold outside.
Yeah,
you guys say it's cold outside,
baby. Yeah,
it's cold outside.
Yeah, so it's not enough because that's not a reality. So the reality is that, hey, back then women did cook and clean for the man. Back then, reality was white people did have a conceived notion about black people and vice versa, but let's show this in a raw way. They had a preconceived notion. They had a notion about homosexuality. They had everything. Everybody experiences the same thing in the household. Homosexuality, gayness, racism, division. But the way they're presenting it now is they're not doing it from an honest standpoint.
No, and you know what? The easier way, I think I could have said this is, like All in the Family was, even though we're different, we're more the same than we are different.
Yeah.
And this, where they're saying, we're all different and you should just accept it.
Yep.
And there's nothing about being the same or not the same. This is what it is. And that's I think.
Also, and Archie Bunker at the end, the way it was written, the way I interpret it is that he always got his in the end. So it's almost like a boomerang to show how dumb he was. Yeah. But he wasn't. But it's almost like he got his in the end, you know?
Because he wasn't open to grow.
I just want to play this snippet of a thing that I posted, speaking of which, this clip from Archie Bunker. And I said, look,
hilarious.
Man, this was a time when, kids played outside.
Yeah.
Your daddy had more than 3 families and your mama's coin purse smelled like titty cleavage, nigga. This was just a time when it was raw.
Yeah.
And I miss that honesty, man. Now I know there were people in the comment section who said, well, that kind of racism is not existent anymore. So you can't do that today. And I'm going, well, last time I checked, niggas are still getting shot by the police.
Yeah,
I want to say something about that, though, because you cut it off. He said, and then he says to him, he goes, well, I didn't know. I thought that's what you called Mammy.
Al Jolson did it, Mammy, all the time.
Right.
So what it does show, and yes, that racism exactly what it is today, because it shows that you don't get your information where you should. People pick up information in the wrong places, and they assume that that's fact.
Right, but with no ill will.
No ill will. Yeah, you're right.
But then in the end, that the whole scene is hilarious because it comes back to him. And so then George has, it was another biracial family that came up.
Right, Willis. The Willises before they were cast differently.
And Archie's face was like, oh, this is going to be good.
This is going to be good.
Right.
Because he's witnessing from the same feelings that he may have, but from George's point of view.
They balance it out. So and that's the way we would think in our family,
But this is where they're not letting this take place that we can actually learn from through ourselves.
They don't want you to. They don't want that realism because the honesty is what they don't want. They want to be able to control you because that's why there's such a backlash today in anything that someone does that they speak from their heart. They go, I'm being honest about what I feel or think. No, well, you're wrong. You can't feel like that. You can't. You have to accept that this is normal. You have to accept that this is the right way. You have to accept that this color is now blue. It used to be red, but it's blue now, right? This is a blue. This color is blue. And you're like, it's been red my entire life. That's why you're ignorant. I mean, this whole world it's spiraling out of control, which is nice to watch because this shit can't sustain itself. But this spiritual battle, it can't sustain itself.
But what I love is that there's a hardcore group of people who still want their cocaine uncut.
Yep.
And so when they come out to the shows and they know that's what you do, they want that product. So not everybody is getting caught in the vortex of bullshit.
More people want that raw, uncut cocaine.
Yeah.
The majority of us think like that, but they don't let you speak. The minority is controlling the way the majority is speaking up for the majority.
I can't even imagine how you get caught up into that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how you get caught up into that tornado where you are going to be manipulated and influenced like that. Like
it's slow. It's music. It's television. It's everything. It's in music. It's everywhere, but you don't see it because your brain is inundated by it. It's like it's a slow, gradual. You see parents my age saying shit like, "Oh, Vince, this is this way." I'm like, you didn't think like, well, how did you believe that now, bro?
Right.
Yeah, man. I'm like, they got you.
Right.
They got you. How the fuck do you not see that? Well, I'm just trying to get along, The average person, I just want to go to work, go home, make a nice living this past way. I know this shit is crazy, but I don't want to, I'm going to talk about it too much. Just shut up and do your thing, like Carlin said. They don't want you to think outside. They don't want you to have critical thinking. They want you to go to work every day, come home, and just veg out. They don't want you to use that part of your brain that makes you go, we're getting fucked. That's the truth. He was saying that shit in the 80s.
Right.
Jordan Peele's tapping on the teacup, the Get Out.
Yeah.
They made that. It's specifically in his point of view as a black man. But we are all getting the teacup tapped to us. They're all trying to reprogram us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that we are going to agree with this idea. But to what you just said, it's not like we're just getting reprogrammed. There's people that actually really believe what they're saying, and they believe that this is the way, that this is the better way for us to exist. Yeah. And it isn't because we're lying. There's a lot of people that aren't saying what they really feel because they're afraid of those people. And that's a lie. And that is not sustainable. That won't work.
It won't work because those people who literally are forcing you what to think and feel are unfortunately getting more power. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to have the power to be able to say, okay, it's our way or no way. And then that's what shit's going to really be bananas because it can't sustain itself because it's a spiritual battle, I believe. Because people's spirits are going, this doesn't feel right. The whole energy of the world lasts 3 years. Something's wrong. You can just feel it. It's not even religious. It's more or less, it's something you go, this don't even feel right. I've been on this planet for a few decades, and this is the weirdest feeling in the last 3 years. It's deep. It's a shift. It's a cosmic shift, a spiritual shift, but it's negative though.
Well, it had to do with being at home and social media being in your house. So you and algorithms giving you what you put out.
Right.
So everything that you said came back to you in social media, in your house, in your bubble, with no one there to break your bubble, and you felt you were right. This is over 2 years of being told that exactly what you feel is correct. And so I don't play in social media that way. So I didn't, no one was coming over your house. No one was having discussions. The news was one-sided. There was 3 channels that were the more liberal side. There was one that was the conservative side with the extra built into it. So you weren't getting true information. You were getting what people were giving back to you, and you believe you're right because that's all you had coming into your house. And no one was coming in to correct you. Your family, your older family members couldn't travel, couldn't come over. You weren't getting this conversation anymore.
Yeah, I believe that to a certain extent, but I'm talking about just on a rudimentary level of just not. You don't have to watch the news. You don't have to. You can see something. And your spirit is telling you that's not right.
But if you're young,
but people are still going, no, you're wrong. You're wrong.
If you're young and you were brought up in that time, and then when you're really developing your personality, and you're in COVID, and you're getting all this information, and you don't have the 40 plus years that we have on this earth, that is fact to you. That's why the youth is so caught up in this, the way that they're caught up in it.
And adults, too.
But adults are because they don't want to, some adults feel this way. Some adults don't want to get canceled. This is...
Yeah, but you start with the kids because the kids are the future. I mean, all the cliches are true. They if they want to change the narrative, they're going to start with the kids first through school, everything. They're inundated through the games they play. So now they come home. My daughter's 14, so she and I are having conversations. It's scary because I'm like, that's not the truth, Pops. No, Daddy. I'm like, hon, no, this is wrong. This is ridiculous. This is what they're telling you. This is what they want you to think. So it's a constant battle because it's being programmed into not only it's the educational part of it. Teachers are now have to teach crazy shit. Have to say shit to kids and stuff that, you in your heart, you go, that's not right. But you say something like, oh, something wrong with you. And it's on purpose, bro. Because it's a battle, man. Only thing I really wish I hope I'm old enough to really see it go down crazy, and just be like, okay, tomorrow I can check out this motherfucking place. Because this can't sustain itself. The way the energy is going right now, it's not just racism. Racism is what they have to keep us like this. That's built in. That's like a free
keep us
spot.
all fighting.
That's a free spot on a bingo card. That's just going to be there when you sit down like, oh, we got this. But now all these other distractions, you see slowly people's spirits are so... I don't know, man.
I like this. Racism is a free spot on the bingo card. Yeah. That is like one of the greatest quotes that I...
Yeah. It's there. It's going. I mean, that's always going to be there.
But because you don't need color, you don't need language, you don't need all you need is somebody lives across the street and you live on this side of the street, and you can have racism just between those two people. If those were the only two people left on Earth, you could still do that.
The ideal racism to me is I've been programmed to think too. Racism really doesn't exist because no race is better. I mean, it's just the principles and practice behind it that keeps that philosophy going.
It's ego that started it in the first. Ego is how. If there's only two people and you think you're better than the other one for whatever reason, and that happens because of ego, that's where this starts.
Well, black people, black people are the most fair group of people on the planet. If shit's fucked up, we'll mention it's fucked up. This one thing about black people, whether it's fighting, whether it's politics, any kind of competition, if you train and he beat your ass, you'd be like, oh, he fucked you up. You can't, there's no leeway. It's raw. If it's a white dude that beat a black guy in boxing, y'all both train, we don't get mad. We like, he was better, man. He fucked you up. You can't, is it racism? No, it's realism. Motherfucker, you need to train better. So black people don't have that kind of attitude like, I'm better than you. We always have an attitude of saying, I'm just as good as you, or maybe better, but I don't walk around going, I'm better than you. That's not in our spirit to look at another race and go, I'm instantly better than you, because we know what it's like at all times to be looked at as less than.
Yeah, but
it's not our energy.
Yeah, but that's when you say that about maybe living here. But back when we were tribal and we had tribes and we were all in groups of tribes, it didn't make a difference. Color wasn't what you were looking for.
Right.
You were looking for my tribe is better than your tribe. That's really what back way before there was ships, transportation, when it was just you had to live in this space with someone else, and there was still that there. It existed back then. Is all I'm saying. We don't need to find it. It exists within us.
Right. I mean, but I don't even know. Tribal. I don't even know what.
When there was tribes, we were in land masses.
Yeah, I'm saying as far as like, I don't even know how those people live. I'm reading a book right now called When the World Was Black. It's really, really interesting. So, however, the mentality that we have today, because that's exactly what you said. We've been taught. The book states like
says that's not true.
Well, the reality of it is like they don't know. But they taught us, like Africa was jungle. It was all this, that, and the other. You were taught as a child that black people live in Africans live in Africa. All it is jungles and huts and stuff, run around with these animals, this, that, and the other. Until the European concept came in, all of a sudden now they're civilized. So the whole thing was written in with the attitude of what is civilization? Because we're programmed to go, oh, they're uncivilized. What were black people doing hundreds of thousands of years prior to that when they built all these different things they had? So
civilization came from blacks in the first place.
The
European thing isn't, that wasn't a new concept.
Right. But I don't know if it's the tribal thing.
The reason I say tribal is I still say we're tribal to this day. We do different tribes. Your football team is your tribe. Your area code. When I come in here and I said, when I was here the other night, we were in Funny Bone just in case you guys forgot, we're in the Funny Bone here in Toledo. But when I came in and said Toledo, welcome Toledo. And and then I said Detroit, and everybody in Detroit was like, wow. And then Toledo sucks. That's tribal, man. That's tribal. That's what it's innate in us to liken us to something solid besides our self.
It's only innate because someone told you.
No, I think it's always been that way because no one told anybody that you're from an area code and you get a tattoo because you're proud of that area code.
They did tell you that. They tell you what the fuck your area code is. That's why you.
But you relate to that. You relate to that because that gives you some identity.
The tribalness that I know what you're saying because it's a difference between what we're taught, what we think tribalism is, as opposed to true tribalism. For me, is family. That's the only thing that you can put anywhere in the world. Okay. Someone has family, that your instinct is to take care of that. That's the that's what this is.
Though. That's what I'm talking about because that was that family. But your family isn't always next actually kin. It can also be it's also extended. What you know. Right. We have similar experiences because we're all from this area code.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about being.
But
tribal.
it's in a rivalry way, a rival type way. Like my football team is better than your football team. They don't think they're better. I mean, they're not enslaving one other team and putting a team. And,
that's because we have we have developed more. But before, at the beginning, it wasn't our football team. It was our actual Warriors versus your Warriors, and this is what it was. So I mean, I think we have grown, but we still hang on to that little bit of. And I use the word tribalism because that's how I see it. I think football is a form of tribalism. I think any of your teams are a form of tribalism. And if you get a tattoo with your area code on your arm, that's a form of tribalism.
Everything that you're saying is correct in the sense that it's designed to keep us from doing what's right. And I tell you, this is what I feel. I feel America would never, ever be what it should be because it would never fix the wrongs. It would never admit that it's right.
Well,
never admit that it's wrong. It can't do the right thing.
Well, that's America's downfall from the beginning. That
it's cursed.
It won't it won't take. It hasn't taken responsibility
until you
for
do right by me.
Well, but then what's the alternative? Because what's the better advantage? Where else are you? Even at the worst level, can you not have more success here as a person coming from another country with no money? If you had to come and pick somewhere to go with no money, no country, where would you go? Where would you go that you have the best opportunity to survive? Not survive because a socialist country, you'd have the best opportunity to survive because you wouldn't have to do anything.
Well, I'm not in a position to where I can't speak on anyone else's reason why they want to travel to our country. That's not in my wheelhouse because I can't even get the shit I need in the most humane way living in this motherfucking country. So, and that's the whole thing. But going back to what I was saying, as far as like, it will never do what's right on the level of humanity. I'm talking about money. I'm not talking about wealth and fame. I'm talking about just in in a humane form. It's never going to do what's right.
Because it's founded on something that wasn't correct.
Say it again.
It's founded on something that was incorrect.
Absolutely.
Let me. Okay,
go ahead. But that was part of what this was. I mean, this is a longer and more deep discussion than that. So let's.
I just want to ask you. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions, Vincent. I just want you to tell me yes or no.
Okay.
Black people started civilization. Yes or no.
Whatever civilization is, I don't know. I mean, I assume. I don't know if they started, but they were civilized. I think everyone's civilized. I mean, I don't know what that started civilization. That's if you agree with what you've been taught. I don't think we came from the motherfucking monkeys. I tell you that. I don't think we evolved from some goddamn apes. That's some bullshit to me.
Okay, but
I don't believe that shit. I don't. We were taught that caveman ain't no caves over in Africa. Ain't no motherfucking black people living in no goddamn caves. Okay. That caveman thing is not.
Oh well, I never. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So civilization. So
the original man was once Africa, right?
They say Ethiopian.
Ethiopian. Yeah. Okay. So in other words, the original man is black.
Yeah.
Right.
As long as you go by what your definition of black is.
We're not going to go there, Andy.
I don't know what that is.
We do this all the time. We do this all the time.
I got you.
The pyramids were built by brothers, right?
Darker people, absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
See, he already defined it. See, he just defined it darker than. Could you? Let me ask you this, and this was an early podcast. What? Do you think that there was black people? Okay, this is how I'm going to say this. Unless some white people came along to define that those people were black, did black people know that they were black, or did they just think they were people?
I don't know, because black people don't think like that. Black people don't have that mentality. So
I would agree with that. I don't. Go ahead.
I think so. You asked me, do I think black people were told they were black by other black people, or until white people came in? What's the question? How
would you, as a person, if you were in living amongst other people and you all looked similar? There would be no question. You wouldn't even think. You would have to think of yourself as a human,
right?
Until someone came along that had a noticeable difference.
Absolutely.
And go, those are black people. I'm white because those are black people. Yeah. Until that moment, there was just people on this earth.
I would hope so. I would think so. Yeah, but just being recorded. So there is no recordings of racism or division, I guess, I don't know, in black books or whatever, because it doesn't exist. It only existed when the white man came along and decided that this is lesser than and I'm greater than. But that's the conflict. The conflict is built. We didn't start the conflict. That's not. We're not.
Yeah, but there were kings and queens and tribes that separated people from this tribe to that tribe.
But that's not. That wasn't based on this. It's based on merit or what you thought a king was. It's based on what But,
well, and based on language, based on. It's also based on food, where farming and.
Well, it's all about division and control. Just like what I've heard the Native American Indians said, that when the paleface asked him whose land is this, they go, nobody mean that doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And well, then they go, okay, well then we need to divide this shit up and start conquering the shit. So back then there was no thought process of this is mine, I'm manipulating, I'm taking this, this is
the earth was the
not
mother.
Yours. Yeah, and it should be. And respected like that. So I'm assuming black people have never thought like that. I mean, it's only the people who don't look like me who's brought that into that variable into existence that caused that conflict. Otherwise, it's just a humane kind of a thing. That's what I'm saying. It's never going to be right until it does what it should.
Someone had to separate it so that that flaw in humanity happened.
Yeah, who separated it?
It was white people.
Okay.
Say it one more time.
White folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it.
Oh,
I've said it. I said it many times, but he didn't like that statement that there was because I said there was no color before. White people made up color because if you were black and you were hanging out with other black folks or like you said darker folks, but you were just folks. You didn't notice there was nothing to one way or the other. So it took someone that was not of that complexion to go, oh, that's different.
That's different. Let me chain it, lock it up, bring it to a country, whip it, beat it,
Wait,
down.
Wait. That didn't start here. And when America was founded, that didn't happen here. That happened in Dutch. That happened in Brazil. This was a byproduct of a ship that went astray, and then they saw it and went, "Holy shit, that's a business. Let's get into it." I'm not saying they didn't take, and they took it to another level here in America. So yes, I'm giving it, but I'm saying it didn't start here.
But why make that point?
I don't even know.
Because the way that you said it, it's like America started. America didn't start. America doesn't have anything to do with history. America is a baby.
I'm talking about. I'm only can talk about what's happening from my experience.
Well, I'm not. We're the same age, so
yeah. No, I'm talking about.
We're looking at the same experiences.
Yeah, we're talking about the experience of America. So that's almost like saying, you slit somebody's throat, but like I didn't start.
No, that's not what I was.
They were slitting throats on this, so it's a byproduct. This knife.
Nah, that's not what I was saying.
Wrong is wrong.
Wrong is wrong.
That's why I said, why even make that point?
Because
wrong is wrong.
What is the point of saying they didn't start? What was that point of that?
Because I'll tell you what the point is.
Just before you say that, Vince, just so you know.
Yeah.
This right here happens so much.
I love it.
And we got into this with Godfrey.
Yeah.
The same thing. Your reaction, my reaction, Godfrey's reaction is always the reaction. The people that write in that are black have this reaction in our emails, but for some reason, we're off.
But I
never said you were off. I never said you were off.
His honesty because he knows what he knows, and that's what he's expressing.
No, but I can express it because okay. Now, this is something we can agree or disagree on.
Okay.
There has been slavery throughout the beginning of history.
How do you know?
Oh, that's what's been written. That's all I have.
Who wrote it?
Touch the table.
Who wrote it?
Who wrote it?
Yeah.
Oh, there's been black people and white people that have wrote this.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. But
Let's put it this way: there's still today there's slavery. And I don't have to write that. We can go to countries where there's slavery, and you can see it happening right now.
I mean, slavery in what terms? What do you mean, like the working off to pay a debt, or they're actually
you mean indentured servitude versus slavery? No, there's actual slavery that is going on in the world right now.
I'm sure there is.
Okay.
I'm sure.
So if it's happened from the beginning of time, all I'm saying is when that ship ended up accidentally in America, and Americans went, "This is a good business." If that didn't happen, and things happen differently, maybe we aren't looking at the same situation. That's why I brought it up, because this wasn't, and this was before America. So let me step back a little bit, because America was founded with slavery in it.
But here's the thing, though. This is a whole other topic. Before whatever slaves you believe were brought here, black people were already here. So,
the natives of this country were part of that same indigenous people of the world.
Ships that made it here before the European ships sailed. We've been here before.
Well, and in that same context, though, there was always indentured servitude here in the States. Before it was states, when it was colonies, and before when it was the Dutch, when it was the French, when it was. All I'm saying is America was a byproduct of all those other people that were here too.
So you mean the Dutch that enslaved other Dutch people? Like that what you're saying?
The first slave ships were Dutch slave ships.
Yeah, but still, they're not feeling the ramifications of that, though. I mean, they kind of got their
no, because what they did, and this is where I was agreeing with you.
So yeah, they were locked up by other white people, but they're kind of over that now.
But Dutch people were the ones to go to Africa to bring Africans here. But what I'm saying, Dutch took responsibility for that. America never went. We fucked this up.
Yeah, but. I don't really understand what you're saying. Like, what are you saying behind this? So meaning that America's slavery would have been different if it wasn't for other slavery over the world. I mean, I don't understand why what's the point of
spitting that all together?
Yeah.
My only point, there is no real point to it other than it has always existed. And when we talk about it, we put it in an American context when this has always been a history of the world context.
Yeah, that's a very white thing to say.
Yes, thank you.
You can
God
say
damn it.
it if you want to, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No. It's not negative though. But I've heard you. It's like it's a spin. It's a
For those of you who wondered why I was so quiet during all
It's
of
a
this,
Svengali.
because I've been down this road and I knew
love
this
it, though.
horse shit was coming.
This isn't. If you want to make it horseshit, that's
It
fine.
is!
But because you're dealing it with it from your soul's perspective, when that would be like.
So wait a minute. Wait. Okay, so I say it. Godfrey has said it. Another black man is saying it. But somehow we're still fucking wrong.
No, because there's other. But what I'm saying is that it's not about being wrong. The point that I'm making is this existed, and when we speak from it, and as you said, from the perspective that we have, there's other perspectives that are out there besides this one. There's perspectives
Is that
from all
almost
over.
like the white slave master pointing out that slavery was accepted in the Bible to his slaves?
No, I'm not saying it's an acceptable form of
No, but
something that's
I'm
supposed to be
saying
happening.
though. So didn't they use? I mean, because I'm not a Bible thumper. I mean, I haven't really read it at all, but I've heard that there is passages in the Bible.
That's a translation.
That's what they would.
Yeah, so they would justify what they're doing.
Yes.
See, it's in the Bible. That's why, you know.
Right.
So it's almost that's a.
But if we're taking it from biblical times,
that's a white thought.
But if you're taking it from biblical times, there was white slaves, and the slave was supposed to be.
Oh, so that would make it all.
Hey,
Gotcha.
hold on, stop.
No.
Well, hold on. I'm just saying. I don't believe anything that was written by people who don't look like me that much. I'm very, as I get older.
I don't even know who wrote the Bible, so I'm having a hard time with it.
King Solomon's, I guess that's
his version.
Yeah. So you said there was white slaves in the Bible. Is that what you're saying? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
no. Okay, let me.
No, I thought I heard that.
No,
I'm not even drunk. I thought I heard you say.
If we were to take the experience of the Bible and you take it to Europeans and their indentured servitude, those people, by what the Bible said, would have to be beholden to their slave master. If they were, because where the Bible
Andy,
in
stop
Europe,
hitting the table,
no,
man.
I'm sorry.
He told me. He told us.
Yeah,
he told you that
Yeah,
shit.
he's been karate chopping.
Yeah. But in that would be the Bible, the King James version is a European version,
right?
So I'm saying when we're talking about indentured servitude, that would translate to those indentured servants that they have to be beholden to their master.
So European writers, right, writing about something that's supposed to happen in the Middle East, which is really hot to death. So the European writers have a really unique and honest perspective of that's why I don't. That's suspect.
Yeah,
I mean, do they even mention color in the Bible? I don't even know if that's even a thing in the Bible. But if everything happened in the Middle East, everybody was way darker,
right?
Because white people can't survive.
What I was saying though, the King James version was written for Europe because it's King James.
Yeah. So
and there's indentured servitude happening in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And that passage that you're talking about that would say that they must be beholden to their slave master would be for those indentured servants to be beholden to their white masters. The white person would still be beholden to their white master.
So it was a piece of it was instructions written to be used wherever you want to go if you want to enslave anybody.
Exactly.
That's really creative.
That's what it would.
No, that comes from the mind of people who don't look like me. You know what? We're gonna. Whoever you capture, you must be beholden to me because I am the end all be all. Now, whether it's black or white, it doesn't matter. But I happen to write it, so
I'm just saying that's how it was used. I'm not.
Yes,
saying,
I know how it was used. Yeah. It's fucked up how it was used.
I'm agreeing with all that. I'm just saying this was a worldwide problem.
But then going back, why make that point though? When you mentioned,
because
why make that point?
Because we tend to, as what he said.
That's almost like saying black people commit crimes against black people too. When you ask them, how come we can't have the justice system the same? How come justice system isn't equal? Well, black people, you guys, when you stop killing each other, then all of a sudden the justice system will be fair everywhere. Like that has apples to fucking oranges. Niggas kill niggas every single day. We're not asked for that. We're asked for justice in general. But that double ass fork tongue.
How is
that shit that they go? Wait a minute. I'm not saying you saying that, but I've heard.
No, but what I want to know is how is saying that slavery was a worldwide epidemic or problem, or still to this day we have it.
I don't know.
It's the same. Who
said it was a worldwide problem? I never said that.
I know, but that's what I said, and that's what you were taking as it's non-existent.
Where is it? Where has it had as great of an impact on darker people from the lighter people who enslaved them than here in America and South America, all the
South
islands.
America.
So where else in the world do you see the impact of slavery that is that detrimental to this very day, like it is here in America, like it is down in the Caribbean, like all those different islands, stuff like that? How is it? Where else is it impacted that greatly and still sustained like that from a white person enslaving a black person? Nowhere else.
It was different forms of slavery, and America was the best at it when they did something, when they did chattel slavery. And part of that is because they legalized bringing other black people into the country for the purpose of slavery. So the slave masters made sure that they were able to basically farm slaves.
Right.
And that's what made this the most incredibly horrific
Evil
of slavery that's ever been seen on the
say
earth.
devil once.
Devil. That's ever been seen on this earth. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just putting it all out there.
You know, this is what I've heard too. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that the Native American Indian coined the phrase "blue-eyed devil."
I never heard that.
Yeah, because maybe I'm wrong, but seeing what that pale face has done, he goes, no one else could. This can't be anything else but the devil. The carnage and the shit that they did. They were like, this can't. This is they couldn't comprehend it. That the havoc that he's wreaking, he has to be the devil.
Well, and also because every deal that the blue-eyed devil made.
No, I'm not saying it's true.
But that's
the history. That's history being recorded. Like somebody would sit there and judge someone's character to the point where this is how crazy it is to them that they couldn't even fathom the shit that's happening. They go, this has to be the devil. So
because
before that, they didn't think about a devil.
No.
Before that, they didn't think about different races either. Like you said,
yeah.
No one mistreated anybody. No one said, "Oh, you're dark or lighter." No one, but
they warred within their tribal selves as well. So this is why I said it's innate that we are tribal. But then also going back to what you said, when you do have tribes and one tribe goes to make a deal with the other one, you expect to take that on face value. When you said blue-eyed devil, that's because the people that would come in to negotiate with the native population here, they would always go back on their word, and that's where the blue-eyed devil.
So they weren't negotiating from a honest standpoint.
Nope.
That's exactly right.
No.
So humanity was lost. So it wasn't about negotiating. Indentured servitude wasn't necessarily an evil thing. It was just, hey, you have elected to do this to work off whatever this is. I'm not going to I'm not going to beat you and rape you and all that kind of shit.
No, I would agree with you on that, except for this one point. Most of indentured servitude, people that were under indentured servitude, didn't survive their 7 years or 8 years, whatever they had, because as with the population of black slaves, you needed to continue to keep them or get rid of whoever wasn't going to allow you to grow that population, and you would take care of that population because you could keep them enslaved. The 7 years, you wanted to get as much out of them. So over 60% of the people that were indentured servitude, under indentured servitude, didn't make it to the 7 years. They were worked to death.
I didn't know indentured servitude was. I didn't liken it to black slaves as much as I did like more white indentured service working up. I didn't think
it was Europeans that were indentured servitude, but when indentured servitude took place, some blacks fell under that.
Stop touching the table, dude.
I like this table better. I don't know why.
But stop.
I know. So when you and I forgot the name of the slave, but actually. I don't have it.
Rufus?
No, that's a nice touch. But what happened is that when three people ran away, a black man, Italian, and an Irishman, the black and the Italian were given extra years on their indentured servitude.
I just know the nigga won the race.
The black man, the black man got caught and he was given life as a slave. So that is really where the precedent took place.
What year are you talking about when there's a black and Italian on a slave? What the fuck?
Yeah.
What compound did you have?
You got to read a lot, brother.
No, I don't believe that bullshit. So now you're trying to tell me that a white man had a black dude and an Italian dude.
No, they weren't all on the same. They weren't all in the same place. They weren't all from the same place. They ran away together. They all were on the road together and got caught.
What? Who was enslaving these Italians?
Italians were a lot of slaves. And slavery was very popular in Italy. Italy had to remove slavery.
I thought you were here over in Italy.
No, here. But slavery was very popular in Italy. There was two. They had to illegalize it twice.
Keep it here in America. So there was black slaves and Italian slaves on the same compound with one white master?
Okay, when we were building the White House, and everybody talks about the White House being built, and you're bringing slaves over from Africa, and you got the indentured servitude coming from Europe.
Right.
What is the style that the White House was built in? An African style or a European style?
With the structure, I don't.
The structure of the White House. Do you think is that an African building or is that a European building?
I don't even know what the difference would be as far as like African building is from that time zone. Is that what you mean, that time era? That era?
What does it look more like, European or African?
I don't know.
Structurally, how it's put together, big giant columns. That was an European thing brought over. Okay, so who would know how to build those? Europeans or Africans?
I don't understand what are you saying?
Because you're saying that they were working together. In order to build what they were building in this country, everybody worked together. The Asians are putting the railroad together with also Irish and Italians as well.
Oh, no. I understand that part. I understand that the Asians were enslaved and captured by the men who don't look like me and been made to work to death. And I'm sure, man, now with Italians too, but I'm talking about as far as they're not still slaves. They're not still being held as
no.
They're not. So that was almost like it was a temporary, like a temp agency. So they were.
Yes.
They had their temporary moment of being what it felt like to be fucking less than. But it wasn't the fiber of what the society is.
No.
This slavery
minus the lynchings and the whippings and the rapings and the torture and the murder.
And feeding to the alligators.
Right.
And to make you have sex with your mother so you consider a motherfucker. And also to be fucked in the ass to break your spirits.
And and butt breaking and yes.
Absolutely.
There was other slavery, yes.
There might have been an Italian there helping out with, they had a hammer right around the time when they were building it. Yeah. Tony had a hammer. Right.
I just told you though, they didn't. A large percentage,
it's hilarious,
didn't survive their indentured servitude because they were worked to death as well. I'm not saying one was better or worse. I'm saying I can tell you right now that slavery. When we got to chattel, when we got to chattel slavery,
to the fucking table,
you know what's funny? It's like he's saying this. He's saying, listen.
No, when we got
I know 400 years are bad. But there's some white people who didn't make it to 7 years.
No. I'm saying once we got to when you got
he
to
just said,
that's not what I'm saying though. That's what you're hearing. When you got to chattel slavery, there's no question that this is the worst, most evil that was put on the earth to these people.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not denying
one
that.
of the worst, yeah.
No, that's when you're raising people to breed them so that they become so that you have more slaves, and no one has a chance to get out of this cycle of slavery. I think that's pretty bad. I think
it's pretty bad.
And then when we get back to what you were talking about, buck breaking, when you were talking about, that's all bad. I'm not trying to say that the one wasn't worse than the other. I'm trying to say that this has been something that it has to be rectified. This has been going on since the history of humanity.
And that's exactly what black people have asked for, instead of taking, they're asking for it to be treated as equal. That's all they've been asking for. That's it. And it's like a little carrot bend dangle. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. If they want to make it happen, they make it happen. But they're scared to. They don't want equality. They don't want equalness. They want that imbalance of, please give me, where's my 40 acres and a mule? Where's my reparations? All that shit.
Well, it's because it's fear.
Absolutely, it's fear.
White people live in fear that and that's where that Farrakhan thing is. That I agree with Farrakhan when he said, we're afraid that you're going to do to our people what we did to your people. Basically, I'm paraphrasing.
If black people were as scary in the minds of white people as they thought we were, there would be no white people left.
It would have already happened.
If y'all literally, if black people did to y'all what y'all, not you, I'm talking about.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Just that crazy ass logic, there'd be no white people left. But black people aren't going to do anything because niggas are scared of revolution. Niggas will not revolutionize. They're not gonna. Ain't nobody gonna do shit. Rednecks ain't gonna do nothing. Niggas ain't gonna do. No one's gonna do nothing except sit here and take this bullshit into the time. Ain't nobody gonna rebel.
You don't think
niggas ain't gonna get together and fight the cops? The Klan ain't going nowhere. The Klan ain't coming in. The Klan is gonna sit there and march in their own motherfucking compound. They ain't gonna fight nobody. Ain't nobody gonna do shit except what the fuck you being told. Because everybody's cowards. Ain't nobody gonna do shit. I guarantee you.
You don't think there could ever be a civil war?
It would happen. It happened by now.
But it is gonna be too late.
It did happen though.
But I mean, that.
No, I'm not talking about literally the Civil War. I'm just talking about
but you
right
don't.
now, like what he just said, the Klan versus the
ain't
the
ain't
black.
no red, ain't nobody. They're all wolf tickets. Ain't nobody gonna do shit. Guaranteed.
I still think there could be a Civil War.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be. I'm saying right now, but the wolf tickets that are being sold won't be backed. So, if you have all these, just like I tell my friends, you think these rednecks are crazy. Look, you think if they were crazy, they would have already done something. Nobody wants any smoke. Nobody. Otherwise, they would do it. We're just going to talk shit until we've been told, that we can't go out of our house, between the hours of noon and 4 because the government tells you. That's it. We're going to be programmed to do what the fuck we're told. And in between, fuck you. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Rednecks ain't tough. Niggas ain't tough. No one's gonna do shit.
I don't think it's coming from the redneck area. I think
stereotypical.
it's this whole. Well, the reason I don't think it's from the redneck area is because rednecks. When you talk about this, let's go to the South. All those people are poor people that just live together now. Now they may not like each other, but that's not the problem. The problem is they're just a bunch of poor people that don't really have any say in what's going on in their own states.
Yeah, I mean, but that's each state has a low income. I mean, that's going to hit everybody. That's what keeps the playing field equal.
But the South has had a lower income, have poverty rates of a higher level than a lot of other states.
Yeah.
So that just keeps in that vein.
Yeah, but even within that vein, no one's going to do anything. Even within that vein, these hillbillies, all the stereotypes you hear about these trailer park people, this, that, and the other, that's how they live their life. But they're not going to come out and attack black people. The Klan is not. These neo-Nazis marching down with khaki pants and shit, doing what they got to do. They get to no one's gonna do anything, or because they've already done it.
But when these crazy ass people start firing into people's homes, into people's places of worship, there is a tipping point when something will happen.
You should fire back.
Something will happen.
You should fire the fuck back. It's like if anyone enters your home, if someone comes to your house to take anything you or your family has, then you should be able to arm yourself to fire back, which is, I think it's in our Constitution. But
that's if we can keep it there.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, so that so that's basic tribal thing. If someone fucks with your family, now you're gonna go after them. That goes back to tribal, and tribal is a family. So if someone comes to your household, you should be able to defend yourself, and that's all pretty much what black people want. Black people want to be treated equally, respected, and also left the fuck alone when it comes to the bullshit, because when it comes to the bullshit, black people, here's the thing, black people love the cops just as much as white people. Black people, it's all that psychological thing of, you guys are one police officer. Nah, the average black person, if we see somebody do something wrong, we're like, this motherfucker going to the jail. That's where the fuck he belongs. We're not sitting there going, well, since he's black, he shouldn't get, nah, you hit that woman, you did this, motherfucker, you deserve jail. But you know what we also deserve? Equality when we get, so
when the white person does the same thing,
exactly.
They go to jail too.
But I'm sick of that mentality that they put on black people like, well, you guys you want lawlessness, you don't want cops. We want fucking respectable police officers. Because when wrong is wrong, and black people would be first admit, oh, that's fucked up. He needs to go to jail. I don't give a fuck. That's it, but. It's
happening right now where that discussion is being even more amplified because of what's just taken place.
What's that? With the
5 black cops that.
That killed the kid.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
Yo, man, this shit is crazy. This conversation is fire, but I can tell we getting long-winded. So we're going to break this up into 2 parts like we did with Godfrey. This has been part 1 with my man, Vince Morris. Check us out on Thursday's episode instead of the email where we bring it to you hot on part 2. Vince, we're going to get it in.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
Use the microphone, man.
3, 2,
we got it now. Fuck that. Keep the mistakes. Mistakes make perfect, nigga.
Say it. You got anything else you want to plug?
Oh no, I got stuff.
Plug something.
I'm going to be in Little Rock March 2nd to the 4th. I'm going to be in Louisville March 9th to the 11th. I'm going to be in Wichita March 16th to the 18th, and I'll be in Vegas May 22nd to the 28th at the LA Comedy Club in the Stratosphere. May 22nd to the 28th, I'll be in Las Vegas. I'll be in St. Louis May 18th to May 20th at the Westport Funny Bone. So check me out.
And you can find all this information on your Instagram
Vince
as well.
Morris Comedy.
There we go.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer Big Papa Robert Kelly and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.